Ethiopia, from its earliest history till today's modern world, has been playing an active role in the world and African affairs. The country has a lion's share in laying foundation of the African Union. Today, Ethiopia is seat of the African Union. Also, Finfinne or Addis Ababa hosts the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. Ethiopia's earliest power in the people's love for their country has brought greater influence on the Horn of Africa, also all over Africa, and attracted the world community to establish diplomatic relationship with Ethiopia. Canada is one of these sovereign countries which started diplomatic relationship with Ethiopia earliest times. It is now more than 50 years since Ethiopia and Canada began relationship. Both countries share common goals in promoting peace and security in East Africa. Canada values Ethiopia's contribution in trying to bring stability to Somalia, Sudan, and South Sudan. Canada is the third largest bilateral country donor to Ethiopia. Its bilateral development cooperation program is focused on food security, agricultural growth, and sustainable economic growth. Ambassador Philip Baker, who served as a Canadian ambassador to Ethiopia for the past 3 years, talked to OBN while he paid his final farewell visit to the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia's President Dr. Mulatu Teshome. He applauded Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed's reforms and strategies.
Well, my name is Philip Baker. I work as Canada's ambassador to Ethiopia and Djibouti and the African Union, and I'm here today saying my goodbye to the President as my time in Ethiopia after 3 years has come to a close. And to answer your question, I would like to say that as ambassadors, we talk to each other a lot, and we talk about what are possible scenarios and where could the country be heading. And almost in our wildest dreams, we probably never predicted the extent of the reforms under Prime Minister Abiy, and we've been deeply impressed by his commitment, his cabinet's commitment, and the changes happening in this country and in each region. And I think the thing that brings it home best is to see the smiles on people's faces that you meet across the country when they see these changes happening on their personal behalf for economic growth, for poverty reduction, for job opportunities, for learning, and for Ethiopia taking its rightful place in the Horn of Africa and on the continent. All very exciting, and I credit that to the leadership of PM Abiy, and it's quite an accomplishment, and it bodes well for the future.
Ambassador Philip Baker was Director General of African Affairs, representing Canada for 5 years before he becomes Canadian ambassador to Ethiopia. He mentioned some of the cooperation progress during his career as Canadian ambassador to Ethiopia.
We knew progress would come. It was inevitable. Ethiopians, they know what's going to work for their country. So we knew it would come. But the pace of change has been fantastic, and I think a model for the entire continent. So when we talk with the African Union, for example, we point out Ethiopia as these are the kind of governance changes that can happen, and look at the benefits for your people. So truly a leader on the continent.
Ambassador Philip greatly appreciated the Ethiopian people, their strength, talents, courage, confidence, and so much potential of the people of Ethiopia.
We've been 52 years of diplomacy now, so very, very strong history here. Development has always been a strong partnership for Canada and Ethiopia. Frankly, for many years it's been our largest development program in the world in terms of reducing poverty. But there's so much more to the relationship, and trade has to be a part of it. We're huge in aviation here. I've mentioned before that our aircraft from Bombardier, our Canadian aircraft, most of your domestic flights, including Oromia, are served with the Canadian plane. And we've also been very strong in extractives, helping communities benefit from their natural resources. And looking forward, I think you'll see more on energy, you'll see more on airport construction, you'll see railway assistance, hydropower. All of these are things where, and manufacturing, something too where Canada wants to get more involved. We're interested, you know, our major partner of the United States, we have our own NAFTA trade agreement. Well, we want to diversify, and so getting Canada engaged more in Africa is nothing but a win-win for both countries. So this is something that I hope to see continue.
According to Ambassador Philip, Canada looks forward in ensuring women's empowerment, working on human rights issues, and creating opportunities for women.
One of the biggest areas, our top priority on this front, is empowerment of women and girls. And so Ethiopia, with over 100 million people, has so much potential to show leadership on this front for women's empowerment. And that's a key priority for us. And I can say we're doing wonderful work with your government, including on the forum of federations. We're trying to strengthen the Ethiopian Federation such that women play a stronger role in decision making between the regions and with here in Addis, in the capital, between the national government. So these are areas I think that we can only get stronger, and it's half your population, your female population, and to let them have their rightful place in developing the country and taking it forward and achieving their own personal goals. This is what Canada has as a major interest. The other side would be governance in general, seeing human rights continue to evolve under Prime Minister Abiy, seeing media rights for journalism like yourself, so that you and your female colleagues have more opportunities to shine with great stories that really tell the Ethiopian story well. These are some of our priorities, and we'll continue to see them.
Ambassador Philip Baker speaks what greatly impressed him in Ethiopia.
The people. Absolutely. Okay. I've been to every single region, all major cities across the country. I made it a point during my 3 years to visit everywhere in this country, because that's the only way to do the role of its ambassadors, if you try to understand the country. And no matter where I went, I saw energy, I saw intelligence, I saw opportunity, I saw youth ready to take on the world, and that incredible enthusiasm for the future is what I think impressed me most with Ethiopia, and that I'll remember for my entire career. This has been a 3-year highlight of my career, to be able to have the opportunity to work here with all of your people and with your government, and we've seen incredible progress.
According to the ambassador, managing the youth potential in Ethiopia will be among the next concerns of the Canadian government.
This is the next wave of your economic growth. I've watched here now, I've been 8 years, 5 years as Director General for Africa, 3 years as Ambassador here. I've watched all the way through growth and transformation, GTP1, GTP2. GTP3 needs to be all about youth, and I know the government's committed to that. This could be vocational training, not just university training, creating jobs, creating opportunities, and allowing innovation to shine. You can skip all of the problems that some of our longer developed countries like Canada have had, for instance in telecommunications and transportation. You can skip by all that and innovate and find incredible new made in Ethiopia ways to succeed, and engage your youth and have them employed to make them a viable part of the future. And a youthful Prime Minister with PM Abiy, just like we have in Canada with Prime Minister Trudeau, that's a great start. And so I'm very hopeful for your future.
He resided in Finfinne or Addis Ababa for 3 respective years during his diplomatic career. He appreciated Finfinne or Addis Ababa that it is fastly transforming.
I love this chaotic, wonderful city. I've seen every aspect of it. I jumped in my car the minute I arrived and made sure I drove all over the city to learn it better. And I think with careful planning for the future, to see more green space, more space for children to play football, these are areas, more transportation in terms of urban transportation. The rail line has been fantastic. Continuing these kind of innovations and these changes can only be better for Addis itself, and I've found it a real pleasure to live in this city.
Ambassador Philip Baker acknowledged the people of Ethiopia for their cooperation in his every activities.
Just to say overall a thank you to the people of Ethiopia for allowing me to be here for Canada as our representative to share in this incredible journey that is Ethiopia. It's been fantastic.